Everybody, and welcome to Spirit Does Fashion. Today I've got something a little bit different than what I usually show. This time I'm going to show you some Monster Hunter fashions that I've made. Let's get into the video. Now then, to kick off this video, the first fashion I'm going to show you is this Zephyr here, which is to mirror the Yang Kutku, which you first see in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate feasting upon Khonshu. As you can see, I've used the Zephyr Grax helmet, followed by the Blade of the Lotus skin. Now, you can use Grax skin or Hagoromo if you like. It does look pretty cool, but it's a bit more, well, a bit more biotechnological rather than fleshy looking. So I went with Blade of the Lotus and just used these colours. For the primary colour, now you'll want to be using this orange from Fire, followed by these two, this one, see this one? This one for the secondary and that one for the tertiary. For the accents, I would recommend going straight over to the Fire palette again and using this yellowish cream because it kind of looks like the, well, it looks like the, what is it? It's like a fin or something, ears that pop up and pop down whenever it's in rage mode and stuff like that. For the attachments, I would recommend using Prisma Edo if you don't want to cover up, I'd use Prisma Edo. I didn't want to cover up the chest too much. Use the Lamassu shoulder armor because it looks pretty cool on Zephyr. They're nice and well placed. I didn't really use anything on the legs because I didn't really see a need. The tail feather ephemera is of course obtained through a Technocyte Coda Lich, and you will need to farm one that has that ephemera as a reward. And for the Signet, I used Flanken, but only because I didn't really see any better options at this point. Now for the Syandana, I've used the Valesti Syandana. As you can see, it kind of looks like, well, it doesn't actually kind of anything. It looks like just, well, not really anything in particular. I used primary of the normal color. Now basically just copy the main colors and then change the secondary and tertiary to this green from the Pride bundle, the Pride palette, which can be obtained during June. And there you go. That is my Yang Kutku fashion. I hope it was to your liking. Let's move on to the next monster. Okay, the next monster that I'm showing you, that is a fashion based on the amphibian called the Zamtrios. Now, this monster hasn't really shown up in many more games besides 3U and 4, well, not 3U, Generations and 4 Ultimate, but it came from Ultimate originally. For this, I've used the Neon helmet and skin because that's what I thought fits the most. And for the primary, you want to be using this brown from the Orokin line, followed by this secondary color from Key Tier. Now, you can get that from him now and then, so best leap at the opportunity when you see it. For the tertiary, I've used this white, and for the accents, I've used this grey just to add some like white claws to his teeth. Probably be better to use like a lighter, maybe a whitish to the teeth. As per the attachments, I used a 3 out of 5 9 more from the chest and the shoulders, and the halter legs, which is Loki Knave. You will need to get that bundle if you want those attachments. In my opinion, they're among the best looking leg armors in the game, followed by the Vengeful Chill. Now, if you wish, you could go with Frostfall. It also works, but at the same time, I think it feels like it covers too much of the body, so I just went with the Vengeful Chill from a Kuvalich with the Cold Progenitor. For the Signet, I wasn't really quite sure what to add. Maybe add that. No. Krios, yeah, Krios might work. Maybe Pragmata if you position it right, because there's no horns at this point, which is kind of weird. But yeah, that is what I've used thus far to make it look like icy horns made by the icy effect when he freezes up. For the ephemera, I've used the Merelina Prime Syandana. Now, if you don't have the Prime Signet, you could use any other one that looks like it has a tail, but if you can find one that's got a tip on the end of the tail, then I would recommend using that. And basically just copy the colors from the main, but remember to change the primary color to this blue from Key Tier, otherwise it will look weird. Oh, and remember to change the colours from red to normal, because to blue and ice, because I've used red simply because when you look at Zamtrios, it has red eyes. And there you go. That is my fashion for Grendel of the Zamtrios. This is my fashion of the monster Nerscylla. Now, this is a spider Warframe, so it deserved a spider fashion. And what better spider than a Nerscylla? As you can see, I've used the Chelicera helmet, which is the alt helmet, and the default skin because there are no other options. For the animation set, I would use the Zaku Noble, because when you look at Nerscylla, its arms and legs and its head are usually twitching, so this kind of works out for it. Now, with this Warframe, I would go on the main, add black, followed by a lightish grey from Fear. I mean, you could probably find another alternative for this. For the tertiary, I would use orange. Now, keep in mind, on this monster, you don't need to worry about the purples. If you want to add the purples, then by all means add it, but save that for the back. The monster itself wears a hood of a Gypsy skin, so I'd just keep it like that. I'd keep it off and save it for the Sayandana. For the emissive, use blues. Now you see these blues here are both from the darkness palette. You could probably find another alternative. Energy is mostly just this pink from the heirloom, and this purple. Oh, I'm getting tired. And this purple from Hallows Eve. Now, for the attachments, I would use Lamassu because that felt just right to me, to be honest. Followed by the 9 more leg plates, because look at that. With those spikes on the legs, the 9 more leg bits just pop forward, and it looks like she's wearing armor of poisonous crystal. As for the ephemera, use pins and needles, because when you look at a normal Nerscylla, it has all those spikes on its back made out of poisonous spines, where poison has just accumulated after all of its hanging upside down. Now for the colours, you want to go for the primary is this purple here, followed by a slightly darker one on the secondary. Tertiary, add to this orange on, well, yeah, you can see the orange. The pink on the accents, followed by the blue, and then the 2 purple energies that you got from the previous one. Now for the Sayandana, you want to be reflecting the Gypsy skin. For this, you want to be using the primary colour of this purple here from Eminence, followed by the secondary, which is from here. The tertiary, also from there as well, which is just a little bit darker, followed by the accents, which is basically a copy-paste of the primary. Now, for the emissives, I would recommend going for this purple here from the Valkyrie heirloom. Unless you were unable to find it, you will need to find an alternative. For this, for the second part of the emissive, I would add this purple from Eminence right there. For the energy colour, simply go with purple and pink from the main fashion. Now, for the claws, this is the skin you will want to get your hands on. It is the Yukar claw skin. Now, as you can see, it makes it look like like the talons that a Nerscylla usually has. So you want to be using the primary colour of this orange from Ember Heirloom. You could probably find an alternative and use exactly the same colour on the tertiary. On the secondary, add the purple from Eminence, which is right there, and the accents from here. Now, I would just simply copy and paste the emissive and energy from the main frame, and there you go. There's my Araxia as Nerscylla.
Tenno, there's a time.
The Spirit does fashion here halfway through the video, and just to let you know that my friend over on Twitch called Oops Wasabi is hosting a fashion show every Friday. The reward is, of course, a 165 platinum skin giveaway that all you have to do to enter is hop over to his channel, subscribe to his channel, of course, message him in the game at Oops Wasabi, and I'll see you there. That's pretty much all there is to it. See you Friday. You're probably going to say, yeah, this one's a bit obvious. See, this is my fashion of the Gore Magala. I know that some people have gotten their fashion from a user called Dan with some cats. Keep up the fashionista work, mate. They look great. But I'll be honest, with Gore Magala, when you look at Gore Magala, it's not black. it's like a really, really dark purple. So this purple fits to perfection. On the primary, you're changing the like back on the skin. So I would use black for this, or unless you could use a really dark grey. Per the secondary, you want to be heading over to Eminence to use this purple here to give it that purple scales for the armor. For the tertiary, use this purple from right here, this one. For the accents, just make them black really, because you don't really need to change them that much. Per the energy color, when you're looking at Gore Magala like this is during his pre-rage mode, so he's not really enraged, he hasn't got his horns up, or rather his feelers I should say haven't gone up because this monster is still completely blind. And as you can see, I've used, for the energy color for the emissives, I've used this purple from Eminence, which is this one here, followed by this color from Eminence as well. Actually no, not Eminence, Lotus. So for the attachments, now you can really add whatever you like really, because it makes it look what you want, how you want it. But this is my Kishikami for the chest plate here, because I think it looks pretty cool, followed by the Iridos shoulders because it adds a bit more armor to the design. The legs have halter because it's one of my favorites, and the Vengeful Chill because quite frankly that powder effect looks just like the energy that falls off of Gore Magala in the form of the falling scales causing the frenzy on monsters. Now you pretty much just want to copy the colors from the main fashion, from the main look, but remember to change the accents to this grey here. And the secondary I think has changed as well. No? Anyway, moving on to the Syandana. For this I would use Ezreal because there is no better option. You want to be changing the primary color to like a really dark red, and I mean a really dark red. So maybe you want to use like maybe this red from, what is it, Light and Shadow, because when you look at Gore Magala, it's not bright red claws, it's just got darkish red claws. So change the primary to that red. On the secondary and the tertiary and accents, you're pretty much just copying the main. And there you go, that is my fashion of the Gore Magala featured in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate as its flagship monster. This one is Shigaru Magala. Now, don't mock me because, let's be honest, Jade is a flying monster and, well, a flying frame, and the Shigaru Magala spends a lot of its time in the air, shooting down the frenzy from above to cause even more damage. So, what for this you want to be doing is you want to be going for this primary here from Orokin, followed by the secondary and tertiary of the same color from the Pride palette. Next up on the accents, turn it to black, because when you look at the Shigaru Magala, it in fact has dark black scale bits in places, which is the accents. For the emissive, you want to be going to, well, if you've got it, you want to be going down to Eminence, go for that one there. On the secondary part of Eminence, you want to be going Matisse with this pink, because let's be honest, the frenzy takes up that color when Shigaru evolves. As for the energy, turn it to this purple here, because you'll want to be hitting the frenzy with those with the bubble energy. The outlines are usually black with a purple, so go for this purple here from Eminence. For the attachments, now you don't really have to add anything. I just added some because I thought it'd be a waste of opportunity. I've used the Ace Apex chest up plate armor, which is this piece here. As per the shoulder armor, I've used the Kuva Zevok. Now if you want to use this, you will need to buy the what's it called, it's the Kuva Lich collection bundle. And for the Protovia, the legs, I've used Protovia because I just think it looks nice. For the ephemera, I've used the Asperus Apex, which can be obtained through the Jade Shadows event quest that followed the, well, event that followed the quest, and the heirloom from Rhino's Signa to top off the horns. For the Syandana, I would say use the Pulchronopsis and basically copy what you've used in the previous, in the main colours, to create that, well, spiky shoulders and edgy tail. And there you go. That is my fashion of Gore Magala. Next up is the fashion I made of a monster called the Seregios. Now, this monster was featured in Monster Hunter Wilds recently, but it was originally created in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And to fight this monster, you basically had to finish the main story quest, which involved finding and killing the Gore Magala after the Gore Magala shed. Now, to make this, you need the Tennogen skin and the Tiamat, Tennogen helmet and the Tiamat skin, which are both tennogen. So either if you're on PlayStation, you will need this combination with Platinum, or if you're on console or you're on PC, you will need to buy both of those skins. For the animations, I used the Mesa Noble because, well, I don't know, it looked pretty good. For the primary, you will need to go over to Twilight and use this brown here. Now it's like a creamy beige, followed by the secondary being this brown here. For the orangey pinecone brown effect, I used this brown from the Grenier palette. For the accents, I used the same brown that was used on plot spot 1. For the emissives, now the monster's energy eye color, I would say make it green because that's what color the Seregios' eyes are. For the energy color, I pretty much just went with the combination of light brown and normal brown, because when you look at Seregios' shards, they're the same similar color as the skin. As per the attachments, I've used the TennoCon 2022 chestplate because I wasn't sure what else to use. The Trima shoulder armor because it gives a bit more edge to this overall edgy monster, followed by the Zyrax leg armor because it's one of my favorites and it looks good. For the ephemera and Signa, I'll leave that up to you because I didn't really know what else to add. And then for the colors, just simply copy and paste from the main color line. As per the Syandana, you will need to buy the Korra Deluxe pack that involves this Syandana. It's the one where she looks like a flower or like a rose, and then pretty much just copy what you made on the mains, and there you go. That is my version of the Seregios on Garuda. Let's go on to the next one. Mostly just to show off the idea, but this is my use of the Mirage Nua skin helmet and skin to create the giant elder dragon that appeared in the end of Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and was of course the battle area, the hunting grounds in Monster Hunter World's Rotten Vale, my personal favorite hunting ground. Now, as you can see, this is the Dalamada. I did of course make the Shah, but that's a day for another video, maybe a subspecies video. For the colors, I've used the grey from Smoke, which is this one right here, and then copy that over onto the secondary. Now for tertiary, you want to be adding black, but don't make it too black because otherwise it will just look like a black and it won't look like a shiny effect. For the accents, make it like a slightly, I don't know, lighter black, so you can still see the details, because when you go full pitch black, you just can't see any of that shine at all. So make it like a slightly dark grey, but don't make it too dark. As for the colours, now when you look at the monster, it has a orangey red glow on the chest, so I would recommend going orange, then red with the emissive. On the energy, I've added white and blue because when you look at the meteor attacks or the wiping arena energy blast that it does in the style of a hyper beam, it's a white and blue mixture, so I would recommend doing that. For the attachments, I've used the Etheria chestplate, which comes from the Harrow Deluxe bundle that came out a while ago. I would recommend getting it if you really want it. If you don't, it's up to you. For the shoulder armor on the left, I didn't really use anything because that piece there is just amazing. For the right shoulder armor, I used Katrima, which it makes it look a little bit more edgy on the right, makes it a little bit more even. For the legs, I used Apex because they look pretty cool and they do resemble the kind of spikes that are on the Dalamada's tail. For the ephemera, I've used the Vengeful Toxin. Now, moving on to the Syandana, I've used the Boltara, because when you look at Dalamada, it's got like a huge row of spikes down its back, and it just looks amazing with it. You basically just copy the main colors, except you move the tertiary. Well, actually, no. Is it that? Well, you mix the primary and the tertiary, you swap them over, and it gives you the black spines with the black tail. And they. Now then, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed the fashions, like the Dalamada or the Gore Magala, maybe the Shigaro even. But if you're interested in more videos, then please feel free to like, share and subscribe. And of course, I shall see you all in the future videos. Have a nice day.